Going in on the cognitive characteristics, you feel me? But now we're going to be talking about understanding your protective role as a caregiver or parent. Now, this refers to awareness, knowing there are certain solely owned responsibilities and obligations that are specific to protecting a child. People who possess an internal sense and appreciation for their protective role. I'm talking about somebody that's proud to be a father, somebody that's proud to be a mother, that takes pride in making sure that their kids getting sent home with homework, or making sure that they getting updated on the daily, behaviors of their kids. I'm talking about people who can explain what the protective role means and involves and why it's important. You have to be able to articulate what it means to be protective. People who recognize the accountability and stakes associated with the role. Do you recognize that you responsible for your child's well-being when you in a caregiver role? I'm talking about people who value and believe it is his or her priority responsibility to protect the kids, their child, because it is. It is. If you decided to bring a child into the world, then it ain't nobody's job but your job to protect that child. It's a lot of harm in this world. And it's a lot of problems that need to be solved. And it's a lot of things you need to do to protect your child that you in care of or that you in custody of. You know what I'm saying? And you need to value that and believe it is your top priority. It is your job. If you don't believe that it's your job, then somewhere down the line, you're going to fall short and you're going to miss something. And that child going to end up getting hurt because you have to be able to fulfill your job and fulfill your role as a caregiver and believe that. And believe that, you know what I'm saying? And value it and understand your protective role as a caregiver, as a parent. Yeah, so you know what I'm saying? We still talking about these cognitive characteristics that's gonna increase your knowledge of these protective capacities. You feel me? Because as a caregiver and as a parent, you have to have the capacity to protect. That's what this is all about, people. Your role, your job as a parent is to protect your kids. So this, when I say, when it says plans and articulates plans for protection, this refers to the thinking ability that is evidenced in a reasonable, well thought out plan. What's your plan? Where are you gonna stay at? Do you take your kids to the hospital to make sure that they, you know what I'm saying, they well-being is secure? Do you take your kids to the dentist? Your kids got shots. You know what I'm saying? Do your kids go to daycare? You know what I mean? Like, what's your plan? Who watch your kids when you go to work? You feel me? I'm talking, listen, you have to be able to plan and articulate this. You can't just be out here just moving without thinking first. You know what I'm saying? And if you're doing that, you're moving wrong. You got some behavior characteristics. You know what I mean? But it all starts off with the thinking. Because you have to be able to think first before you act. And I'm talking about people who are realistic. Who are realistic in their ideas and arrangements about what is needed to protect their child. I ain't talking about people who out there got these unrealistic goals or objectives that, you know what I mean? Like, listen, you have to come back down to planet Earth and do what's within your reach. And if you don't have realistic ideas and goals and arrangements about what's needed to protect your child, then maybe there's some cognitive dissonance going on and you may need to sit down in front of a psychologist or therapist and get evaluated. Because you have to be aligned and in reality when you're in the role of a caregiver, you hear me? And I'm talking about people whose thinking and estimates of what dangers exist and what arrangements or actions are necessary to safeguard a child. What? Like, your thinking, you know what I mean, and what you believe to what danger you believe exists, you know what I'm saying, whatever you need to do, like, the way that you think affects your kids. So if you're not being protective with your thoughts, and that's not being reflected in your action, then your child is more than likely to be placed in the harm's way because of you. You know what I'm saying? Because you're not thinking first, you're not planning before you make moves. You're not planning your plan. You ain't planning to be protective. You need to plan to protect your kids. You need to have a place to stay for your kids. You need to have something lined up or know where to go to feed your kids. You need to know how to be resourceful to access the community of people around you. You know what I'm saying? Like for real, because people whose awareness of the plan is best illustrated in their ability to explain it. You feel me? You have to be able to articulate and explain it. What your plan is going to be to keep your kids safe. And why it's important. Why is it important? I'll tell you why. Because your kids ain't asked to be here. They're vulnerable. What I mean when they vulnerable, they need you. They can't feed themselves. They can't protect themselves. They need you to do that. That's right. That's why it's important, because it's your job. And you need to believe it's your job. It's your role, your duty. That's right. Now plan and articulate your plan for protection to show that you have the capacity to be protective. All right. So now, finally, we finna be going in on these emotional characteristics. You feel me? And I'm talking about specific feelings and attitudes, identification with a child, and motivation that results in protective vigilance. I'm talking about meeting his own emotional needs. I'm talking about being resilient, tolerant, stable. I'm talking about expressing love, empathy, and sensitivity to your kids. You know what I mean? You got to be positively attached to your kids. You got to be aligned and supportive to your kids. Or you know what I mean? Or whoever you watching, or you a caregiver. You know what I'm saying? Because you have to have emotional intelligence. You have to have these values within yourself to be protective. You know what I mean? Yeah, that's right. You gotta be able to meet your own emotional needs, be resilient, be stable, tolerant, express love. You know what I mean? Be aligned with your kids, all that. You know what I'm saying? These are emotional characteristics that we're gonna dive into. That's right, and right in a second. And first off, you know what I mean? First one we're gonna be going in on, you feel me, is, you know what I'm saying, having the ability to meet your own emotional needs. Having the ability to take care of yourself. This refers to parents, you know what I mean, that satisfying their feelings in reasonable, appropriate ways that are not dependent on or taking advantage of others, in particular children. You know what I'm saying? You got to be able to meet your needs. Don't be taken away from your kids. Your kids got gifts. Your kids got something that you, and you taking away from them because it's making you happy. You know what I'm saying? Like, don't do that. You need to be able to meet your own needs. You feel me? Independently. Like people who use personal and social means for feeling well and happy that are acceptable, sensible, and practicable. I'm not talking about going out here, you know what I'm saying, smoking a crack pipe in front of your kids because it makes you feel good for the moment. You know what I'm saying? You diminishing your protective capacities. Cause you ain't placing your child top priority if you over there smoking crack in front of your kids to meet your own needs. You need to go to counseling. You need to go to some AA meetings, some NA meetings. You need to go and try to get some medication so that you can address whatever you got going on or whatever happened to you in your life. You know what I'm saying? You need to be able to meet your own emotional needs. I'm talking about people who employ mature, responsible ways of satisfying their feelings and emotional needs. You know what I'm saying? They ain't going out here doing things that's and they neglecting their kids. They going out all night, leaving their kids unsupervised because they want to go out to the club. You know what I'm saying? They want to go hang out with their friends. Skirt! You better hold up. You better find a employer another responsible way. You know what I'm saying? And be mature about this situation. You ain't no kid. You know what I'm saying? You ain't no child. You better have some acceptable ways, because I tell you what, you do something and somebody got a concern, you may not be happy with the outcome. I'm talking about people who understand and accept that their feelings and gratification of those feelings are separate from their kids. It's separate from their kids. You know what I'm saying? You got to understand and be able to accept that your feelings and gratification of those feelings are separate from your kids. Yeah, man, you got to have the emotional characteristic to be resilient out here in these streets. You feel me? This refers to responsiveness and being able and ready to act promptly. You know what I'm saying? Like people who recover quickly from setbacks and being upset, they ain't all up in their feelings. They ain't stuck on stupid because somebody don't, you know what I mean, did them wrong. I'm talking about people who spring into action, people who can withstand challenges and stress, man. You got to be able to dust your shoulders off. You know what I mean? You got to be able to say to yourself, this too shall pass. You know what I'm saying? You got to pick your battles. I'm talking about people who are effective at coping as a caregiver, have the emotional characteristic to be resilient, man. You gotta see the light at the end of the tunnel and know that whatever happens, it's not the end of the day, people. It's not the end of the world. It's not the end of the world. It's just a minor setback for a major comeback. So, if you're able to do this, if you're able to, spring into action, you don't get held down by the challenges, then you have the emotional character, you're resilient. And big ups to you. Now, another emotional characteristic that's important to increase your protective capacity is being tolerant. This refers to a caregiver who is able to endure trying circumstances with even temper, being understanding and sympathetic of experiences, express forgiveness under provocation, broad-minded, and patient as a caregiver. You know what I'm saying? People who can let things pass. They don't take things personal because a kid cuts them out. You know what I'm saying? People who have a big picture attitude, who don't overreact to mistakes and accidents. They get it. They get it. They're tolerable. They're understanding. But if you out here, you just snapping, you know what I'm saying? You out here getting into arguments and debates with kids and you grown, you know what I'm saying? You're gonna always be wrong. You're supposed to be able to, you know what I'm saying, like to be understanding and express sympathy, to know that these are kids still developing. You know what I'm saying? But if you don't have the ability to recognize that and see the big picture, I don't know, then maybe you still have some developing to do as well. I'm talking about people who value how others feel and what they think. Yeah, what they think, because we all different and we all think different. So you have to be able to not take things personal and know that people have their own personal problems and experiences. And you know what I'm saying? And just value what others think and just value how you think. Yeah, and just know that you're unique. That make you special. And when you're tolerable, when you're able to be tolerant and you have that emotional characteristic, yeah, that's right. Yeah, so we still raising the awareness and raising your knowledge on these protective capacities. And we talking about the behavioral characteristic, not the behavioral, but the emotional characteristic right now being stable. So to be stable, this refers to the mental health, emotional energy, and emotional stability of the parent and providing for protection of kids, of their children. You know what I'm saying? People who are doing well enough emotionally that their needs and feelings don't immobilize them or reduce their ability to act promptly and appropriately. I ain't talking about people who always in their feelings and they be stuck on stupid and they can't move. You know what I'm saying? Because they don't let somebody hurt their feelings or now they feeling down or now they just feel like the whole world against them. No, people who are not consumed with their own anxieties and feelings, they stable. People who always taking things personal, you know what I'm saying? Thinking like, you feel me, the whole world out to get them. That's an unstable characteristic emotionally. You know what I'm saying? And it's something that you really need to really analyze. And if you need somebody to talk to, you feel me? Talk to somebody about it. I'm talking about people who are motivated as caregivers with respect to their protectiveness. You know what I'm saying? Nobody should have to tell you what to do to be protected for your kids. You know what I'm saying? You got to have that self-motivation. You need to be able to get up and move and stay motivated. You know what I mean? In regards to respect to, you know what I mean, being protective. Like you need to be able to take those necessary steps and keep it up. Stay motivated. Because it's your job. And guess what? Them kids ain't asked to be here. No, they didn't.